These readings today are certainly fascinating, and in one sense I find them rather awkward and somewhat difficult to speak about. Obviously, I love that line from Moses, "Would that all the people of God were prophets." And Jesus' line out of the gospel, "Those who are not against us are with us." The generosity of God knows no limits and is not bound by rules and regulations. The generosity of God in giving that full measure of prophetic spirit in the book of Numbers exceeded what Joshua could imagine. The generosity of God in the New Testament, in this passage from Mark, exceeds what the Apostle John could imagine. And it is that generous Spirit of God giving love and mercy to each and every person God has created and called His own that brings us here on a weekly basis so that we can celebrate that generosity of God by hearing God's Word and by consuming, eating, and drinking the body and the blood of Jesus Christ. The very fact that we do these things is a sign of our own gratitude for what God has given us and for all that we are when we live within that presence and when we share that generosity of God with those around us and those who are very, very distant from us. I find these readings a bit awkward because not only are we receiving Linda and Melissa this morning, but also we are looking, it's that Sunday when I give you the State of the Parish report. You've noticed that because it's in the pew book racks in front of you. I noticed about 8:30 there were some people sitting there going through it. Thank you very much. I'd like for you to pick up those reports, if you will, share them now. And I'd like to go through them, through the report. I'm not going to bore you with all of the numbers because you are intelligent people. You know numbers better than I do. And we have within our midst several accountants and CPAs. So what I'd like to do is to make some comments as we go through and to talk to you and with you about where we are and how we need to continue. On page 2, at the bottom of the page, that listing of our parish staff, Alex De Leon has been employed here at St. Paul's now for 18 years. And Alex has been offered a tremendous opportunity for himself and for his family. So he is leaving the employ of St. Paul's Parish as of September the 30th, which I think is Tuesday, right? Is that Tuesday? Wednesday. We wish him well. We feted Alex on Friday morning after Mass with a breakfast, and many people came to offer him congratulations and good wishes and to see him off. Taking that position, which has been slightly modified, the position of plant maintenance director, is now referred to as the facilities director, is one of our own parishioners, Michael Centani, who's here today. Michael, where are you? Would you stay? There he is. Michael is the new facilities director for the parish, and Michael begins his work officially on October the 1st, which will be Thursday, right? The feast of, is Is that guardian? No, that's not guardian angels. That's the second. Sorry. Okay. If you'll turn to page 3, the listing of our finance committee members, finance council, and pastoral council, and along with those very key people who advise me on all that goes on here and all that needs to happen here at St. Paul's, there are a host of volunteers who come in quite regularly to help out with office work, with maintenance, with special projects, who spend sometimes all week here working and helping the staff. To all of you volunteers, catechists, assistants, parents who are doing all this tremendous work in your homes with your children, etc., I simply want to say thank you from the very bottom of my heart. My gratitude for your help is unbelievably large, really. We had a group of our young people, Spanish-speaking young people, their group Espacio de Dios, came to me and begged me to please let them paint those stripes in the parking lot. Did you see that when you drove in? Yes. I hope you're all parked between the lines. Espacio de Dios did all of that yesterday. They worked very hard and they did a beautiful job. Our Diocesan Services Fund, the middle of page 3, I want to thank you again and again and again. I've been here 4.5 years. Never have we been this far along this early in the year. Now you're saying, Father, it's already October the 1st. Well, every year we have to put out this urgent plea in December to pay off DSF. If we keep moving in this direction, we will certainly have an excess, part of which will be returned to us for our debt to the diocese. Again, I thank you, those of you who have participated. If you have not already participated, it's not too late. The closing of DSF is December the 31st, New Year's Eve. Our parish financial status down at the bottom of the page, that summary. We had a phenomenal year in contributions to pay our building loan monthly notes. In 2014, which was previous fiscal year, we were short on our building loan, our collections by $213,000. That money had to come out of our operating funds so that we could continue to worship in this space. In 2015, which is the past fiscal year, we were only short by $24,000. That's an incredible increase in income to help us pay for the building note. And I know not only I, but the department heads are very, very gracious and grateful that you and all of us are working together to do that. Between your donations and festival proceeds, we met all our bills and our monthly loan payments. As well, we were able to take care of some critical maintenance needs that might have forced us to close down portions of our building. And when I say that, I hope you understand that's the entire old part of the building. But because without that fire suppression system and those sprinklers, we were going to be forced to quit using that portion of the building. Thanks to you, thanks to the festival last year, we were able to do all of that. And now we can leave that garage door open so that we can see the beauty that's been created and renewed in Founders Hall. Thank you very, very much. Page 4. Is that 4? Yes, page 4. The challenge in all of this is how do we sustain our giving so that we are continuing to meet these monthly obligations, not only for our regular bills and payroll, but as well for the loan on the construction loan on this building. You know, in the first 2 months of this new fiscal year, we've already been short both months on building fund donations. In the month of July, we were $8,000 short, and a wonderful family in the parish came in and wrote a check to pay that. Thank you. The month of August is already gone, and we were, I think, $2,500 short for August. That's money that we'll be taking out of our operating funds, and we won't have that money for programs and the materials that we need for those programs. If this trend continues, or if that continues over the next 10 months, then we're going to have a serious problem at the end of our fiscal year trying to figure out how we're going to pay off that monthly note. Now, I have to be very honest with you. There is very, very little, if anything, that I, as pastor, can do about any of that. I'm trying to do my part. I have increased the donations I make to the parish through Faith Direct. I have cut expenses as much as I possibly can in the rectory. And I want you to know that our stipends for Mass intentions, a lot of those go back into the parish and not into my pocket, which I am entitled to. It is my firm resolve that this parish absolutely has to pay its debts, and I need to lead the way because you call me Father and because I have been appointed as pastor. My dad taught us repeatedly that the best gift he could give us was the gift of a good name. And so Pavlovsky means something in the world. And I am not about to let my dad down by ruining that good name. It's important for me, for my brothers, my sister, and for my dad. So, the paying of our monthly bills and the construction note really boil down to only one person. And that one person happens to be every family in the parish. That payment, that generosity, comes out of a personal commitment from each and every family in the parish. And that personal decision results in success when everybody is working together toward the same goal. Perhaps it's a bit trite to say this, but our gratitude is a direct result of our great attitude. So each and every one of us needs to give serious consideration to who we are, to whom we belong, and to how we will respond. I'm not going to go through the numbers on page 5 because you read, you're intelligent, and you can figure those all out. In fact, far faster than I can. If you will look at page 6, the building loan. 4.5 years ago, our debt was $5.2 million. And interest was at 6%. We've had that, our loan is now reevaluated every year for July the 1st. And currently, our debt is $3.9 million. We've done very, very well over the last 4.5 years bringing that down. I know when the diocese alerted me that we were down under $4 million, I cried. Some reason $4 million was that deadly block I couldn't get past, and then all of a sudden we've broken through. And I thought, oh, this is great. Now it's just going to peel off like crazy. I'm praying and I'm hoping. We were struggling greatly 4.5 years ago. We're still struggling, but it's not quite so difficult to struggle as it used to be. So please, let's work together. Our monthly debt is, our payment is $36,900. Annually, that's $443,000. So that's what we have to do. If you'll, in the middle of the page, after it talks about those capital campaigns, our department heads and the leaders of our various ministries here in the parish raise money to help support their ministry. I'm very grateful to our department heads and ministry leaders because of the money they raise, they're giving 10% to the debt payment. That is scriptural. That comes right out of the Scriptures. So everything we do is working together to help pay this down, penny by penny, nickel by nickel, until it's gone. And it needs to be gone sooner than later. There are, at the bottom of page 6 is a list of things that we've been showing you now for 4 years, things that still need to be done. We've managed to take care of some of the minor stuff. The greater stuff is still there and waiting for us to attack it. I don't know how much longer we'll have with the roof. You know very well that when you come in here on days like today and it's been raining and pouring drastically, you find waste paper baskets sitting around with water in them, and the leaks are not always the same old leak. They're often new ones. We can attack them one leak at a time, but that's actually going to cost us more money over the long run. So those are the issues that need to be, and I anticipate, I hate to tell you this, I anticipate that in the next 2-3 years, we'll probably have to do yet another capital campaign to replace the roof and hopefully to pay off more of the debt. I am not calling for a capital campaign right now. Please don't quote me. I know I've been a priest and a pastor for 25 years, almost 25 years, and I know what happens. We changed the Mass schedule and the attendance at St. Bernadette's increased. Not by much, but some people did go there, and that's okay. Their calendar is important, okay? And the same thing happens with capital campaigns. Oh God, that's all he ever talks about is money. So they go where they're not talking about money at the time. We know that. In the meantime, we have coming up in 1 month our Out of This World Festival. And at the end of Mass, Harold Langer is going to come in and talk to us about the festival and the needs of the festival committee so that this festival will be the absolute smashing success that it was last year. Last year, I think we cleared right at 126,000. Our goal for this year is 150,000. We can do that. I have absolutely no doubt that we can do that. But it certainly will take the cooperation of everyone in the parish to make that goal. Then if you look, new church directory. Sometime in October or November, you should be receiving, if we have your correct mailing address, you should be receiving a new parish directory in the mail. It's not costing us anything. It is not a pictorial directory. It is a directory of ministries and services, which is marvelous because it gives everybody the opportunity to see all the stuff that we have going on here, and it's pretty remarkable in this parish. It gives you the opportunity to look through it and say, you know, I never knew they did this. I want to help with that issue, and to come in and volunteer. Along with that directory and inserted in it will be a building loan envelope so that if you'd like to make a donation, again, we didn't pay for any of it. That's all been given to us. So is the mailing. It's a win-win situation for St. Paul's. And so look forward to that sometime in October, early November at the latest, I think. And then finally, the Book of Gratitude. As I mentioned, my dad and our good name, when I arrived here, I was informed that there were several promises that had been made to the parish that have not been completed. One of those is a book of gratitude to give thanks to those who were so absolutely instrumental in the planning, the designing, and the construction of this church. Now, there have been a couple of people who have been working on this book, but 6 years later, it's still not a finished product. So if any of you would like to volunteer to help them with this project, please let me know that so that I, in turn, can help you get in touch with the two people who are working on the project. There are some other issues in reference to promises that were made and have not been completed, and I am working with individuals to see that those things happen. I think it's absolutely important for us as a parish community, when we say we're going to do something, that we complete it to the best of our ability. And I can think of no better example to give Linda and Melissa than that right there. I was talking to Heidi before Mass, and I said how awful to be baptized on the day that I'm talking about finances and economy. And Heidi said to me, it's not a clean world. Sometimes it's messy. And she said, we're bringing these two wonderful women into the community. They're joining a real human community, which also happens to be divine. So, Linda and Melissa, thank you. You'll get your envelopes. Thank y'all. Okay? Would you please leave these reports in the book racks for the next Mass? They will be available on Monday at the Welcome Center if you'd like to have a copy of them. But we didn't want to print 5,000 copies and then end up throwing out 499 of them, or however many. So if you would please leave them. And thank you again very much. That generous Spirit of God has been poured into this parish in an incredible way. We've accepted that Spirit. And so now we act on it. Thank you, and God bless.